Hey friends, so Wendy Williams was also able to get a phone call out to HARVEY LEVIN from TMZ. Apparently he talked to her for about an hour and a half along with Charlamagne the God, and I just want to share with y'all and react to what he has to say here. I completely agree with him.
Hey everybody, it's HARVEY LEVIN from TMZ. I just spent an hour and a half on the phone with Wendy Williams, and I can tell you that the Wendy Williams I spoke to today is the same Wendy Williams that I knew 10 years ago. There was no difference. She was lucid, she was articulate, she was with it, and she was opinionated. I'm not going to get into the specifics because it was an off-the-record conversation, but she wants me to give my evaluation of what I heard. Charlamagne the God was on the phone call as well. And my impressions were precisely what Charlamagne has already said, that Wendy Williams seemed like she could have done her radio show today.
I hope Wendy Williams honestly gets back to doing a show. If it's not on camera, she can do a podcast. She talked about doing a podcast before. If she has good days and bad days, let her record on the good days. Wendy has a massive audience. We want Wendy back. Free Wendy. Wendy deserves to live the way she wants to live. She has earned that.
There was no lapse in her judgment. There was no hesitation in what she was saying. And I'm not a doctor, but I am alarmed that Wendy Williams has had her freedom taken away from her.
I am too, Harvey. I am too. Free Wendy.
And I don't understand exactly why. Wendy doesn't have access to a cell phone in the sense that people cannot call her. If a call is made, it has to be from her out.
Stuff like that is just, there's no explanation for why on earth a guardianship for someone who's impaired would not be able to receive calls from people. Why not? Why not? Like, did he have something to do with this? I'm just asking y'all.
She doesn't have a laptop. She can't come and go, according to her. And that makes sense because we really haven't seen her out with the exception of her son's graduation. And I have a strong opinion about what may have happened here because Wendy has struggled over the years with some substance abuse. And
Harvey's had the same opinion here that I've been, that Wendy may have had a relapse with her substance abuse problem, and that is not something someone should lose their freedom for. My God.
especially after her divorce. And it's pretty clear from the recent documentary where you see a vodka bottle next to her.
You know, like I told y'all before in my other Wendy videos, I have not watched that documentary. I saw the trailer and just did not understand why anyone around Wendy was allowing her to be filmed in that condition. I found it exploitative just from the trailer.
That Wendy was off the wagon, and Wendy is a substance abuser, but she was clearly clean. When I spoke with her, I know Charlamagne has talked to her numerous times, or at least several times in the past, and he had the same impression. And aside from the various pills that they are giving her there, whatever it is, she seems fine.
And that's the question I keep asking. Like, clearly Wendy has a problem whenever she is relapsed in her substance abuse issues. We've saw Wendy not be coherent in the past, but that happens with a lot of people, and people who aren't rich and famous and with a fortune don't get their freedom taken away to conserve it. Like, this is crazy.
And when the people in this guardianship she's under say that she is permanently disabled and essentially non-functional, I heard the opposite. I heard somebody who seemed with it, competent. It wasn't even close to the line. It wasn't even close to the line. There is something that needs to be addressed here.
I agree, and I think that's why they're restricting her communication because they just don't want people knowing how well Wendy actually is whenever she's not having a relapse issue. Because if everybody knows that, there's going to be outrage, as is building right now. Free Wendy, y'all. We need a free Wendy.
The file for this guardianship is sealed
And why would that be, I wonder?
in New York. We can't see it. I know they say she has frontal temporal dementia, and she may or may not. But whatever it is, it doesn't seem it's advanced enough, at least from my ear. And I admit I am not a doctor, but I can listen to people, and especially in an hour and a half phone call, I didn't hear an iota of that, of any permanent disability or somebody who was unable to function.
None of us are hearing that. I am so glad that everybody's publishing Wendy's phone calls so that we can all hear. And big kudos to Charlamagne the God and the Breakfast Club for doing it first. If y'all don't know, I love the Breakfast Club. I watch them all the time. Charlamagne the God actually got his start working with Wendy Williams back in the day. So he owes her a big debt of gratitude, and it's wonderful to see him pulling through like that. So good on you, Charlamagne.
So it seems to me that this needs to be addressed. Why is it that Wendy is under such tight wraps in this guardianship?
To me, that's the real question. Who is trying to silence Wendy?
Why is it, even if she were disabled, that people can't call her? Why is it that she doesn't have the ability to communicate the way most people do, with emails and texts and cell phones and all?
Yes, why? Free Wendy. Free Wendy.
Why is it that she is in this home where there are a lot of people who are 90 years old and others, and she, was describing the house itself, and she wasn't saying it was in deplorable condition. She was saying that it is a really depressing environment, and she doesn't quite understand why she's there.
None of your fans understand why you're there, Wendy. We want you free. Free Wendy.
So I think that somebody needs to come forward and explain, why is Wendy Williams in this kind of guardianship where her freedom has been taken away when she seems fine? And maybe let her out with a sober coach 24/7.
I said this the other day that if Wendy is in need of a full-time assistant, as Harvey put it, I didn't think of that, maybe a sober coach, something like that. Clearly, she has the estate funds to be able to do that. Why on earth would they want to lock her up, make her depressed, make her feel emotionally abused, and basically punish her? It's like they're just punishing her for being Wendy Williams. Our Wendy Williams that we used to watch every day on TV. Some of us after school, some of us like late at night before we went to bed. But man, if you're a millennial, you have probably loved watching Wendy Williams like I did. Free Wendy.
And if that would solve any issue she has, at least for now, give her her freedom back.
Yes, give her her freedom back. Give Wendy Williams her freedom back. Free Wendy. What do y'all think?